Wow. 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 What? Welcome, Walking Dead friends and family. Brian Castrillo here with another review for Fear the Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 9. All I can say is wow. I keep saying that Season 6 is amazing, but it just keeps getting better. The writing in this one, the acting, just phenomenal. And quite honestly, Lennie James and Colbie Minifie deserve an Emmy for their performances. Uh, let's just get right into it. So, right in the beginning, you see June and she's burying John. And if we go back to the previous episode where we lost John Dory, and where she had to put him down as a walker, and in this episode in the beginning where she's burying John, you notice that June is like void of all emotion. She's basically dead inside. I mean, she didn't cry when John died. She wasn't crying when she was burying him. Just total void of emotion. And you can hear kind of like muffled in the background, Ginny is demanding where Morgan is over the walkie, and June can hear it, but you can tell she's just lost it. And one of the things that she says to Jenny when she finally, kind of comes to, is that if she knew why Dakota did what she did, if she knew that Dakota was the type of person she turned out to be, but Jenny says she didn't know, but June did not believe her, and she makes that very well known. Then the scene shifts. Well, she also found John Dory's gun, and she picks it up, and she's kind of having, things are going through her head. I mean, one, she wants that gun because it's a memory, but Jenny's ranger stops her and demands to get the gun back because he said this wasn't about sentiment, that she had other plans, and she does. But and the scene shifts back. We're back at Lawton, and we got Grace, we got Sarah, we got Daniel, we got Luciana, and June, and all in a Negan style lineup. And this was intense. And you got Ginny on one hand with her walkie, and she is demanding where Morgan is, and she is saying how she's gonna kill Grace, and she's gonna kill, she goes up and down each one of them, and she said she's gonna kill them. Daniel gets hit in the head, he's all bloody, gushing out, and she's threatening Morgan. Then all of a sudden Morgan rides in, like, the scene was epic, really. He's in like a cowboy. He's like, "Here I am," and he's and they're going back and forth, and they're and Morgan proceeds to tell the Rangers, to listen up, and he tells them what Dakota did and how Jenny was lying to him, and then we learn that Victor really was kind of doing sort of a double backstab, and this time it was on Ginny. And because Victor, as we know throughout the series, is all for Victor. He has always been about Victor, not someone you can trust, in my opinion. But we learned that Victor has all the Rangers, that he was, when that time was come for battle, but he had developed sort of an army for Ginny, but they, for most part, most of them turned on Ginny and then pointed the guns at her. And Ginny gets, then there's kind of a shootout, the shootout at the Lawton Corral, if you will, and Ginny gets shot in the shoulder. She grabs Grace and threatens to kill him. Everybody's shooting at each other. People are ducking for cover, and you notice there's a bit of a strain between Morgan and Victor, and eventually Ginny is able to escape, and she has Daniel, who's very injured, and Grace, and she has them taken off so she can keep that leverage. And Morgan catches up to him, and he has her by the knife of his his bow staff, and he's getting ready to kill her. And then but Morgan, being who Morgan was, knows that Daniel and Grace are in trouble, so he can't kill her. And then we hear Victor in the background, and he's yelling at Morgan, saying, "No, we can't do this." And he demands to have Ginny, but he jumps in the car and takes Ginny with him, and he ends up back where I believe was his water tower where he was staying, and he fixes up Ginny kind of. He doesn't get the bullet out, but as he's talking to her, Ginny reveals that Dakota is actually her daughter, and I'm like, whoa, I did not see that coming. Like, wow. Which explains a lot why Ginny did what she did, why she protected Dakota. But I just did not see that coming. And Ginny, of course, on the walkie mentions to her people who have Grace and Daniel that where she is in that water tower. And of course, that probably was her worst move, because then Sherry and her group must have heard that on the walkie, and then you see them come around with Al's tank, and they have to get up running again, even though Ginny is still injured. And they're shooting at him, and Ginny and Morgan are running, and then they kind of split up for a little bit, and you see Ginny crawls under like this tree, which is and she's kind of stuck there a little bit, and Sherry comes out and she's ready to kill him because she wants Ginny dead, and we got to see one walker that Sherry stopped from killing Ginny, but then she wanted to kill her himself. But then Morgan comes out of nowhere, and he's trying to let her know that you're going to get other people killed, because he's trying to look out for Grace and Daniel. But Sherry doesn't care. These people, they don't care, because Ginny did so much to him. And to some extent, I understand where they're coming from. But Morgan finally gets the upper hand because Ginny distracts her, and then he knocks her down, and knocks her weapon out, and then they take off running again. And Morgan's starting to bring her back to the place that he built, that Isaac had found. And one of the things that was kind of interesting that I picked up on was Morgan asked her if she was lying just to get him to bring her to Dakota. And she's like, "Why would I do that?" And Morgan says, "Probably because you've seen the tape of me on that Al had, that, and you know that I have a son." Of course, bringing up Dwayne, which I still kind of believe that this could happen. Doesn't mean it won't, but it would be a great storyline if Morgan, with some time jumps, ends up on The Walking Dead, and the whole Wall of the Law story. That would be amazing. And Dwayne is just being brought up again and again. But who knows if that's going to happen. But, they finally get to where their camp and settlement was, and Strand and his people all of a sudden, come. You see the Rangers up on the hill. Sherry's van drives in. They got a decent sized army with all these people that want Ginny dead, and there's kind of a tense standoff. But they go back into, they're inside the encampment, and they're kind of talking to Victor, who's demanding that they be let in through the walkie. But Victor is talking to Ginny, and she realizes that her time is coming up to an end. But she kind of chickens out, and she doesn't want to tell Dakota what she told Morgan. So she comes up with this plan and says, I will make the call to get Daniel and Grace saved if you let Dakota stay here and take care of her, and I will sacrifice myself so Dakota can go on living. And of course, she didn't say it, but she didn't want to tell her because, that was a hard truth to tell. And the scene's just back outside. They bring her outside, and then Morgan has her head on this rock and says, all right, I'm going to kill you. But Victor and everybody else wanted to do it themselves so they can, as they said, twist the knife. But Morgan eventually does it and gets into this speech, which was very reminiscent of Rick Grimes when he didn't want to kill Negan when, Maggie and Daryl and everybody wanted Negan dead. And it was kind of like very similar, brought up those memories. And the speech was just phenomenal. Really brilliant acting. And so he does, and then, they go back in, and they eventually, Ginny is forced to tell Dakota, who she is and why she did what she did. And this was a really powerful moment between Dakota and Ginny, as she tells her that she's actually her mom and she did what she did. Just wow. And then the scene's just back outside, and my favorite scene of the whole episode, because it was just funny, and I think it might be telling that possibly Victor Strand could be in trouble in an upcoming episode at some point. Because, as you know, in my previous videos, I said I believe Madison is returning, and how is Madison going to take Victor Strand treating Alicia, her only child that she knows of? But I'm sure she'll find out that I believe Madison will return, and I believe Victor could be in trouble because of it. But here's my favorite scene. As they're discussing, you see Grace and Daniel coming on horseback riding, and you hear Daniel say, "What's going on, Victor?" And then Victor turns and he's like, "You remember." And then Daniel says, "That's a conversation for another day." So that this is gonna to come into play later. And I'm sure Daniel didn't forget getting shot in the face by Victor. I have a feeling that Victor's time, or something's going to happen with Victor. And if you look in the previews for next week, it showed that Victor was kind of behind bars and something about he didn't know, or so. I don't know what that's all about. But back to this episode. And Morgan tells the group out there why he wants Ginny to live. And again, bringing back Rick Grimes. There's so much Rick Grimes memories and parallels between Morgan and where he is now. You can tell like Rick has definitely played a big role in who he is today. But Rick, not Rick, but Morgan tells everybody they're welcome to stay, and if they want to, abide by their, the rules, and everybody's good, they're all welcome to stay, which kind of reminds me of Rick back at Grady Hospital when they were trying to save Beth, and he tells them, despite everything that was happening, you're all welcome to stay, because Rick realized that, life was precious and he wanted to help those who were good, and Morgan's doing the same thing here. And everybody, you see June get off her horse again, void of emotion, just walks right in, and she's standing by the gateway as everyone else walks in. Rabbi gives her a letter that John wrote when he didn't think he was going to see her again. I hope we get to see what's in that letter next week, because I think that's going to have some meaning to it. And then we see the scene goes to Dwight and Sherry, and Jerry's saying that she's just not at the same point where Dwight is, and she needs to be with her group, and she's not ready to go in, even though Dwight's trying to tell her that, you can start anew and we can start life, but Sherry is just right now does not want that. So I don't know what's going to go on with them two later on. And then you see Victor, arguing with Alicia, and Alicia saying, why should we even trust you now? Why don't you come in? And Victor's saying he needs to do something because there's an army that's still coming. I don't know what he's referencing, but he believes that there's another threat, and at least that's what he's telling Alicia, but he doesn't want to go in with her. And there's definitely a strain between them two. And like I said, I believe Madison's coming back. Remember the talk about the stadium. Something's going to happen, and the strain on them two, I believe, is going to play a role if we do, in fact, see Madison again. So Victor doesn't want to go back in there. Now the scene is back inside, and we see June, Alicia, and Morgan, and June says, and Ginny, and June says to Ginny how she patched him up. It was cute in the beginning because you had Rufus licking her face, which I guess that was a sign, but Ginny tells her that she patched him up to have to pull it out, and Morgan's telling him, how you can escape. I'm going to let you go, but you have to leave with Dakota. And then Morgan and Alicia say they're going to go do something. And June says, I'm going to stay behind and fix her dressing, which I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know what, but something was going to happen, and why Morgan in that moment did not have a moment of clarity and left June with Ginny and think nothing was going to happen. But they're going on, and June tells Ginny about her daughter Rose, and Ginny talks about how she was just trying to protect her daughter just like her, and again that face, it's like that blank stare. June was giving me a Carol vibe, especially during the moment of when they were fighting, the cannibals back at Terminus, where Carol was just lethal. That's where I see June going with this. I was getting a lot of Carol vibes. But then, June walks back up to her and takes out John Dory's gun and asks her, did you know? And of course, Ginny said that she would do anything for her daughter. And then all of a sudden, boom, June shoots her right in the head, and gruesome scene where the blood's pouring out. Props to the special effects team on Fear the Walking Dead. That looked amazing. And then she just walks out in this powerful scene of, she's just walking back, and Morgan's like looking at her dumbfounded. You got Alicia looking at her, and she's got John Dory's hat on. She wipes the blood from Ginny off her face, and she's just walking by like just cold, like she's a cold killer. And I get it. Like I feel that emotion that June is giving off, and amazing job by Jenna Elfman. She just wow. And then you see her walking out, and you got Morgan's staff, and she's just walking off into the sunset. What's going to happen with June going forward? Where is she going to go? Is she going to go with Victor's group? Is she going to do her own thing? I have a feeling, like I said, I was getting Carol vibes, which I believe that she's going to do kind of her own thing. But it'll be interesting to see what June does going forward. But again, all I can say is wow on this episode. This season, the acting, the writing, just wow. But yeah, I want to, as always, I like doing shout outs for my friends, and this one is going to go out to the Creepyncute shop, which is run by Piper Paton and Doreen Defauw. I hope I said that right, but And I'm gonna put their links in the description as always. You gotta check out this shop if you're into like creepy dolls and handmade, authentic, just really amazing hand and artwork. You gotta check this site out. Order yourself a doll. They got, you know, all the characters from The Walking Dead. You know, I definitely seen, you know, Abraham, and pretty sure I saw Rick in there, and Michonne, and all the different characters. Like when you go to the site, you're gonna be blown away, kind of like I was blown away by this episode. But yeah, definitely check it out. I'm gonna put the link in the description. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you know, throw some comments down in the comments. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you think. What's gonna go on with Victor? What's Daniel gonna be doing next? What is June's next move? The army that Victor has, what's going to happen? And don't forget, we got the end is the beginning people that are still out there. We don't know what's going to happen with them. Can you believe this is only episode 9, the beginning? There's still so much time left, and Ginny's gone. What is going to happen next? But yeah, throw it in the comments. Check out Creepyncute dolls. You won't be sorry. That they do excellent work, and I even had a mask made by them. Just excellent. They are artists. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let's discuss. And you guys have an amazing week. And I cannot wait for next Sunday. Love you guys.